Bonjour pour un nouveau temps fort des journées digitales de l'expérience client. Pour ce nouveau temps fort, cette fois-ci 100% en anglais, il sera question de knowledge management avec notre partenaire Verint et en particulier comment le numérique est au service, finalement le knowledge management et l'intelligence artificielle transforment l'expérience client avec des exemples de chez BMW, Fidelity Bank ou encore Utility Warehouse. Pour cette conférence à distance, nous accueillons deux invités donc de notre partenaire, tous les deux anglophones. Hi Pablo, did you hear me well?
Hi, how are you? Very well, thank you, Jeff.
So Pablo, basically you're a partner account director, Verint UK.
Indeed, sir.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
That's correct.
Thank you for joining us. And at your side, we're so pleased to welcome Andy Carter.
Hello.
Hello, Andy. Did you
Good
hear
to
me,
meet-
Andy?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry. Hello.
Okay. Right. You're a solution engineer consultant, Verint UK, specialized in knowledge management for around 9 years?
That's correct. Yeah, 9 years of knowledge management as a solution consultant. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So, gentlemen, let's get started. I let you introduce your presentation.
Wonderful. Could you pass me controls, please? Fantastic. That's great news. So what I'm going to do is share my desktop. Bear with me a second. Just finding the controls. Please forgive me for just finding the right presentation. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see knowledge management tools. Is that clear, Andy? Can you tell me that?
It is.
Wonderful. Let me commence. So guys, first of all, thank you very much for letting us join you today on today's presentation. We have 45 minutes to walk you through KM Pro, that is Verint Knowledge Management Solution. So we've had some introductions already, and thank you very much for that, Geoffrey. So what I wanted to do is do a little bit of positioning on what KM Pro is and the value that KM Pro brings to your customers. And then Andy will walk through a demonstration of the solution featuring one of our customers. And then at the end, time permitting, we will open this up to question and answers. I hope that format is okay. I want to thank you for letting me present this in English, because your English is probably better than my French. So I just want to say thank you very much for allowing us to do this. Fantastic. So let me begin. So why do people buy knowledge management? Why is knowledge management important? So knowledge management is very important. It is about improving customer experience. A happy customer, be a customer facing or a customer within the contact center, an agent, if they're happy and they can find the information easily and effectively, they're more likely to, first of all, customer facing, buy the product or the service you're offering, or within the agents, allow them to do their job quickly and effectively and offer a better experience to the customers they're conversing with. But fundamentally, the reason why people buy KM Pro knowledge management is to reduce costs. It's about reducing the effort that your customers have by going onto your website and finding their answers quickly and effectively without having to jump through many hoops. Within the contact center, it's about reducing call handling time, first time resolution, and time to competence for the agents. So fundamentally, it's about driving down costs. And especially we're in a very unique position at the moment with COVID, where our workforce is now at working from home predominantly, and they no longer have their colleagues, their friends surrounding them to help them find information quickly and effectively. So if we can help people get our information quickly and effectively and get the right answer to the right people at the right time. So a bit of a mission statement. We believe companies are not getting the most out of their collective knowledge. Now, every time myself, Andy, or any of my colleagues at Verint go and visit a customer, we ask them, do you have a knowledge base? Every customer goes to me and says, Pablo, yes, we have a knowledge base. We have SharePoint. We have a wiki. We have post-it notes. We have laminates. We have Francois that's been working in our contact center for 20 years. Now, everything I've described there, apart from Francois, is flat structured content. It's difficult to find information. If you hand me a PDF, I have to search through that PDF in order to find that information. Where knowledge is a living and breathing thing. I ask you a question, you give me an answer. I don't expect war and peace. I mean, a good example of this is if I went to visit Geoffroy in his office in Paris, and I asked him, could I use your kitchen, Geoffroy? He would say, yes, go down the corridor and it's on the left-hand side. He wouldn't hand me a 30-page PDF to find where the kitchen is. And this is what we currently do to our customers. We make it very, very difficult for them to buy our products, to buy our services. All they really want to do is ask a simple question and get a simple answer in a bite-sized format. So KM Pro can work in 3 distinct areas. The first area is customer-facing environments, allowing your customer to go online, ask questions in their own naturally phrased language and get their answers without having to send an email, call a call center, or browse or mine a static FAQ system. It's about empowering people to find that information quickly and effectively. And again, as technology moves on, people will be interrogating knowledge via voice. You know, we have Google, we have Alexa via Amazon. Why not ask a question and get your answer? We have live chat, customer facing. You know, let's place that knowledge base in that chat environment, thus helping that customer answer those 1, 2, 3, 4 everyday questions without having to go to the more expensive communication channels, be it the contact center. So then we're focusing on the agents in the center. Now, with the agents, it's about reducing that call handling time, first time resolution. And I used to say onboarding, but actually it's time to competence. If we can, instead of training your agents for 10 weeks, 12 weeks, if we can reduce that by 50%, that's a massive saving for your organization, because no longer do the agents have to retain the information in their head. If they can use Google and they can search, that's how our technology works. And the last area to impact them is HR. This may not be relevant to the audience at the moment, but it's good to understand this is an enterprise solution, basically allowing your employees to go online and ask questions and get their answers without having to contact the more expensive resources that you have in your organization. It's no longer possible to say our calls are going up, our emails are going up, live chat is not, let's hire another 50, 100, 200 agents. That's not the way you should be working. You should be looking, how can we drive efficiencies within an organization? And the best way of driving efficiencies is knowledge management. So a couple of things to bring out on our stall, and I should have actually brought them out right at the beginning. We are a SaaS solution, so we live in the cloud, and we are ISO 27001. And some of the unique features of our technology, let's start with the top left. We have cognitive knowledge, what we used to call the memory engine. And what the memory engine does, it understands the concept of language. So it understands an apple is green or red, an apple grows on trees, or an apple's an Apple computer. So out of the box, it understands around 98, 99% of language. And of course, this is multilingual. So one of the languages that is supported, of course, is English, French, Italian, German, and so on. We support, I think it's around 30 different languages. So very important. So you're probably wondering yourself, there are going to be certain acronyms, certain phrases that my organization use. We would ingest those into the KM Pro solution. So if your agents ask for that or your customers ask for that in those codes or those phrases, it would understand it straight out of the box. Bottom left, channel agnostic, tech agnostic. Why is this so important? Because we do not dictate how to find the information. What we do, we give the right information at the right time. So that information may be living in Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, SAP, ServiceNow. It may be living on a customer-facing environment. It may be living in a chat environment. You may ask bots to integrate into the KM solution. So if it can't find the answers it needs, it looks in. And that's the beauty of being channel agnostic, that whatever environment you want your knowledge to appear in, that's where we can be. Now, top right, we have zero-click knowledge, and you're probably saying to yourself, Pablo, how can you give me the knowledge before I ask for it? Well, what we can do is give you contextual knowledge. We can give you the top 10 most asked questions of that day. We can give you the top most asked questions within that shopping basket. We can give the right information at the right time to those agents, depending where they are in their CRM solution. So as they're pulling down parameters, clicking away, that knowledge may appear in there, thus giving you the power to give that zero-click knowledge. And let's take a step back. Where do our searches actually start? Our searches start on Google, Yahoo, Bing, these different search engines, and we can make that information appear as one of the top 10 most asked questions within there. And again, that's your choice to have that information appear in there. And the last thing, rapid deployment. Why is that so important? So our usual deployment cycles, beginning from receiving, of course, the purchase order to delivering the solution, can be anything as quick as 8 to 12 weeks, depending on complexity. I want to caveat that because we have such customers, or FedEx, for example, who are in 20 different countries and 30 different languages. That would have taken a little bit longer than the 12 weeks. So we are an API-driven platform, and that's super important, very, very important, because what's really important, if you're sitting there now and you're wondering, I have knowledge in my organization, think about the different silos you have knowledge. You may have a knowledge base for your customer-facing environments. You may have a different knowledge base for your agents. You may have another different knowledge base within your CRM system, and you may have a different knowledge base within your live chat, and you have bots. So you could have 5 or 6 different siloed knowledge bases within your organization already. And what you need to do is have one central platform injecting knowledge to these different environments, be it customer facing, contact center, enterprise, bots, live chat, whatever you feel is the best environment for your customers. Quick snapshot of some of our customers. We have over 70 blue chip organizations using our technology. As you can see, we likes of BMW use us, Fidelity, but the one customer I did mention before that myself and Andy were actually there when it commenced, so it's a bit of a baby of ours, is FedEx. Now, when we started with FedEx, it was one contact center in Coventry looking after around 100 agents. If we fast forward now, it's 4,000 agents in 20 countries supporting 30 different languages. Further to add to the mix, FedEx and TNT decided to join forces. So now we have TNT agents answering FedEx questions, and we have FedEx questions answering TT questions. Now, without an underlying knowledge base, there is no way that these agents can multi-skill themselves and answer hundreds, possibly thousands of different questions on sending goods internationally and within the home regions. So again, start thinking of knowledge as a very valuable asset you have in your organization. So this is my last slide before I pass controls to Andy. So what I want you to see here is the wheel, and in the center of that wheel is knowledge. Knowledge is the second most valuable asset you have in your organization apart from people. And where does knowledge exist? It lives in people's heads. It lives on laminates. It lives on Excel spreadsheets. It lives on sticky notes. It lives in black books. We need to take that knowledge and place it in these different environments. One source of knowledge feeding different environments, be it apps, be it websites, be it contact centers, your CRM solutions, the back office staff, chat solutions, virtual assistants. Think of knowledge as an asset. And guys, I really want you to focus on this, because when you go back to work and you're thinking, my God, I've got all these different pools of knowledge, let's drive value. Let's really help your customers and importantly, help your organization. So I want to pass controls now to Andy, and I will make Andy a presenter to carry on with this journey, if that's okay. Andy, you should have controls now.
Thanks, Pablo. And
yep, I can see your presentation, Andy.
Okay, great. I just want to quickly reduce the size. Okay. Sorry, one moment. I'm just adjusting the screen. No, I can see myself more than I can see my presentation.
Okay, well, yeah, wonderful.
Okay, that's it. We've got it. Apologies for that. So yeah, thank you, Pablo. So what we'd like to do here for the KM Pro presentation, Pablo just gave a great example there of the flexibility and the scalability of what KM Pro offers, from the small contact center within FedEx in Coventry, expanding to those 30 different languages across 20 different countries. Also, what I'm going to show is the capabilities and a use case by using one of our clients' utility warehouse. And after that, I'll just give some statistics on what those business outcomes achieved were from this implementation, and then just go a bit further. As Pablo mentioned, KM Pro is API first, which gives great flexibility in actually leveraging on that investment and placing knowledge content in various different contextual journeys. So I want to sort of just give you a quick overview of how you can really push the boundaries of what this solution offers. So to begin with, the use case we're going to use is utility warehouse. We have various different touch points for their end users. This presentation here will focus on the contact center solution for agents based in London, here in the UK, around 500 agents. But they also have different interfaces for different audiences, which KM Pro provides that capability for. So they also have a partner network of around 60,000 distributors that sell their products and services on their behalf, with some award schemes behind it. They have their own version of an answer, more geared to different processes and procedures, and also more marketing content. They also have a customer-facing access point too, public-facing, split between two different audience types, and they are retail and business. Now, the agents, the distributor network, and the customers, retail and business, are all getting their knowledge sourced from one single source of truth, and that single source of truth will be KM Pro. Now, just to give a bit of background on who Utility Warehouse are, they are a FTSE 250 company based in the UK, offering gas, water, electricity, broadband internet, mobile phones, and the devices and handsets that go with that. They do have a contact center of around 500 agents based in London, and they approached us to replace their own solution, which is very much like a Wikipedia style knowledge base. And this is the solution we brought to them. Now, just to sort of relay it to sort of our current situation that we're all faced with, working from home, isolated, and in their environment, agents are now working from home. They shared with us a great quote. So just before we have a look at the solution, I just thought I'd like to share this with you. They told us that Utility Warehouse had moved all of their contact center users to working from home. And Albert, which is the name of their solution, the interface which the agents access, has really helped for a smooth transition and to provide consistent communications to the teams. So they were able to effectively continue to work very effectively during this situation where agents suddenly found themselves working from home, and those colleagues are no longer immediately available whilst they're taking calls. And they actually had some new, I believe, new employees who were taken on board during this period of time. So let's have a tour around the solution here. Now, this is the interface that the agents will see. This is a custom build design to align and match with the look and feel for Utility Warehouse's corporate branding scheme. Now, behind the scenes, there is an administration console where the knowledge administrators create and maintain and publish the content, and they publish it to these interfaces, to this one, the one for the customers, and for the partner network. Now, to run from the top down to the bottom here, at the very top is the power of the solution. That is the search algorithm, as Pablo mentioned. It's able to understand the concept of English language out of the box. Now, for knowledge administrators, that means they no longer have to think about keywords and search terms or how a user is going to find content. The solution takes care of that for them. And for the end user, in this case for the agents, it means they also don't need to think about how to search. They can quite literally search using naturally phrased language. Now, that sits at the very top there. Now the next next panel saying latest news, and if I can just scroll my screen just slightly here, latest news. That first panel, this is the capability is called announcements. It's titled as latest news, but what this effectively provides is those knowledge administrators or the business to put out vital communications to those end users, in this case to the view of an agent. These are things that are changing rapidly that they need to be aware of, such as utilities are down, or certain business solutions may be going through some maintenance. Anything that's relevant to get to the agent's focus very, very quickly. Announcements can be posted out to different audiences. In this case, it is for the agents. They can have announcements for customers. Maybe that's a product recall, for example, all contributing to reduction of unnecessary calls reaching the agents. If they can put vital information out there and appease those concerns from customers, that's where you will find the announcements capability coming into play. Now, beneath that, we have the capability is called feedback, labeled here as suggest content and request training. These are custom built forms that allow for some end user feedback. Suggest content allows for the agent, as they're engaged on calls with customers, as they spot gaps and weaknesses in content or knowledge articles that they need answers to, they can actually submit forms in the suggest content area, and that will go through to the knowledge administrators to then contribute further into the solution. Request training on the right hand side, very similar. There's a form that sits behind the submit here button, and this allows for agents to request training on specific processes or procedures, as well as they find themselves needing further assistance. At the bottom, we have some mild customization. My favorites and quick links. My favorites, again, all about providing the agent with the fastest route to an answer. They can store articles that they access most frequently. And my favorites allow them to bookmark knowledge content, processes or procedures and gain fast access to them on this home screen. And quick links provide access to agents to other business tools or enterprise solutions, or in this case, they have details about various handsets, telephones that they are selling, mobile phone handsets, and these screens will tailor to the role in which we are logged in as. So we can use single sign-on to do some slight customization to the home screen here, depending on the team and who that end user is. So moving on to give an example, let's just simulate here an agent taking a call, their first call of the day. And this agent may have only worked for this business for a couple of weeks, for example. Now, their customers actually called in. They have an inquiry about direct debits, about setting up automatic payments for their utility bill. Now, the agent in this case has just typed in the word debit, and the solution just on that single word has just gone all the way through their content, around 5,000 articles, and it's posting or displaying these suggested articles. And what we're viewing here are the titles of articles. These aren't search terms, these are actually the headings of knowledge articles. Now, it's very easy and friendly for the end user, the agent, to actually see what we're looking at. And it's taken it from that single word debit. Now, the more they type, the more context that's there, these results will refresh in real time. They will just automatically search ahead of that agent and start to give them real-time results. But in this case, just the single word debit, it just came up with these articles. Now, there are two icons on the right-hand side that represent business and residential customers. And these are to indicate to that agent that that particular article is relevant to both customer types. So this is going to fill that agent with confidence that this article is going to address the particular call they are engaged in. Now, this is the article page. This is the actual answer to that particular query. So our agent has selected that. How do I add manual direct debit? Now, in the center is a very specific and concise answer to that question. And if we think about other traditional knowledge solutions, you may find a very long article and there's a lot to read through just to get to that single answer. And that was the challenge that Utility Warehouse had with their previous solution. Now they have some great consistency, and the agent is very confident that they just need to focus in that centerpiece to get a very specific answer to that specific question. Now, additional information has been given its own space, and you can see that on these panels on the right-hand side: guides, timescales, and additional information. Everything that we're seeing here, all of that content exists in one single knowledge article. It's neatly distributed, and that's following data-driven design to make it effortless for that agent to be able to see and view what's on that screen whilst they're engaged with a customer. And they can focus on that central piece, and as that call dictates, they can offer additional information proactively or reactively. Now, the solution is also doing some extra work here. It's doing some heavy lifting for the agent. It's removing a need to do another search. Now, as we scroll down, we're scrolling down, we can see at the bottom there, we have related knowledge. Now, you'll see this with traditional solutions. However, KM Pro is doing something very different here. It's intelligently going ahead, looking at the context of the article that we're currently viewing and finding the next likely knowledge article this agent is going to want to see. And this is dynamically loaded. So it's anticipating what that agent may want to see next. Now, this is a great time saver for the agent, but also for the knowledge administrators. The solution is actually doing this for them out of the box. There's no need for a knowledge administrator to map entries to one another or to relate them or concern themselves of the impact of adding or removing an article. The solution takes care of that out of the box. So tagging and taxonomy is not a requirement in this solution. This is quite literally out of the box, and it allows knowledge administrators to just focus on writing good, helpful, compelling content. Now, another capability, and I'm sure we've all worked with these before, we call them decision trees that can help with compliance and quality. Now, a decision tree is essentially where we need a bit more information from that end user, from the customer, from the agent, or whoever it may be. We need a little bit more information to get them to the right conclusion. We need to narrow it down and triage that. Now, there are many different use cases for decision trees, but in this case, this is an example of a process that an agent needs to go through in order to help a customer purchase a router, an internet broadband router. Now, we have 5 boxes here, and again, the look and feel, the design has been custom designed to match with Utility Warehouse. Now, we have 5 choices, and the agent can very easily work with the customer in real time and proceed through this. Now, the customer is asked, what kind of router would you like? Our customer would like to receive a premium router, so our agent makes that selection. Now, there's 2 more choices here. Would you like to purchase it outright, or would you like to rent it monthly? And in our story, our customer wishes to buy it, wishes to purchase it outright, so we make that selection. Now, the agent has now received the steps to process that particular requirement or request from the customer. And we have here a table that represents the fields they need to complete within their CRM system, the process they need to go. Now, we could actually integrate this knowledge article within their CRM system using the API. There are many different ways in which we can place this knowledge where it needs to be at the right point at the right time. And again, as Pablo was mentioned earlier, it's scalable, and you can start to really simplify these journeys as you explore what knowledge can really sort of do for you. So this is helping the agent to process this particular call. Now, there was only 3 steps in this particular example, but these can be very, very complex. And if you imagine FedEx and TNT, they go through very different processes to essentially do the same thing. And these decisions are helping those agents navigate through what the right process is for TNT, or how do we do it for FedEx as well. And they can be very complex. And I'd quite like to share with you in a moment what the designing tool looks like to create these as well. Now, just as another time saver for agents, as we scroll down here, what we also have is the option to see the choices we've made. Again, there's only 3 steps in this example, but if we imagine a very long process, essentially what we can do is allow for that agent to add some notes at different stages of a process. In this case, they can copy that to their clipboard and paste it into a CRM to reduce wrap time. But we can be more sophisticated than that. We can actually have this push to CRM and make a hard copy to close off that call. And we have examples of how that's actually working too. But in this example, very light touch, a baby step for utility warehouse. Quite simply, copy that, paste it. It allows for the agent to recap with the customer to ensure that they've addressed everything for that call and improve on first call resolution. And it also reduces the effort to having to type up certain notes into the solution. Now, this is within the administration console. This is just a screenshot of what that visual designer looks like. They're very easy to create these, and in fact, they're very good fun to create, I should say. The green boxes represent the first question that we just saw there. How do I add a router? We have our choices. We selected a premium router, which linked us to another question of choices for value router or premium router, which finally led us to a conclusion, which is what the blue boxes represent. Now, each of these nodes, we can change the direction, reroute them, we can attach them, shorten the journey, add further questions. You can really turn on a dime, you can adjust processes very, very rapidly. And sort of reflecting again on the recent pandemic, we found organizations having to change the way they work very, very quickly, which means they had to change their processes to adapt to this change in working dynamic. And this tool allowed them to quickly adjust certain processes rather than using multiple tools to create complex processes. And of course, sign-off processes and workflow all exist within the administration console as well. Now, each of those nodes also have an editing tool, so you can add rich media, other content, videos to support those different steps and stages as well. Very, very easy and very rapid to create. Now, just to wrap up on Utility Warehouse, what we have here is an example of feedback and collaboration. Every single knowledge article provides a facility for agents to provide feedback. And this is the same for customers, for the distributors, or any end user that is accessing the knowledge content. Feedback goes to the administration console, and there it's dealt with by the knowledge administrators to make more informed choices about how they can improve on that knowledge content, simplify it, and adjust it to meet the end user's needs and react to that demand. Feedback is submitted. We can provide a custom form. In this example, it's just a text field, but we can add tags in here such as broken link, out of date, please come see me, anything there to really shave off that time and effort for those end users to provide that feedback, especially in a busy contact center. And again, that feedback gets submitted to the knowledge administrators. The other area is on the homepage, and this is where we can create custom forms such as a suggest content page for those agents as they discover gaps and weaknesses in knowledge articles. And again, we can tailor that form there to our different clients and different business needs. Now, Utility Warehouse were very kind enough to share with us some statistics on the impact of this solution. And to begin with, if we just start on the left-hand side there, they have 5,500 knowledge articles. Originally, before this solution, their Wikipedia-style solution had around 8,000 knowledge articles. During the initial implementation, they got it down to around 3,000 knowledge articles, which has since gone up because they now have a distributor network and the customer base as well. And largely, a lot of that support comes to a single knowledge article being a decision tree, where 10 separate knowledge articles become one with a triage. Now, they have 4,000 questions asked per day. And I should say these results were in the first 2.5 years. They've been with us for 4 years now. 27,000 submissions of feedback from the agents alone. And that's not 27,000 submissions of this article wasn't helpful, or there's a broken link, or I need a new article to help me on a certain process or procedure. That's also business intel. These are services that agents are actually engaged with customers and realizing actually we could probably do something better here. So they can feed that back to the business. There's some absolute gold in this the feedback mechanisms that are provided from those agents who are on that front line taking those calls. Now, they had an internal measure, and honestly, I'm not sure how they measured that, but they assured us that their quality of their calls went up by 30 points. And now some of the big ones here, their net promoter score went up 10 points. And it has since, I believe, gone up another 10 points since we took this recording. So at that stage, it went up to 50 points, and I believe it's now up to 60 points. So a really positive impact to their customers as well. Now, as a result of this solution and being more efficient, their average handling time went down. And as a result of that, because they have web self-service, customers helping themselves, higher value calls are actually coming into those agents. And those high value calls, Utility Warehouse actually encourage a longer talk time because they know those calls are of high value to them, and they want to encourage a longer engagement and a more positive experience, all also contributing to that net promoter score. Now, just to wrap up, I just want to share a couple of other examples now of the API and what the potential is there behind having your knowledge in a single source of truth. In that single knowledge repository, you can have interfaces for different audiences, but we can extract that knowledge and start to do some very interesting things with it. And again, really boost and leverage on that investment. So just to lay the scene. Yes, hello, Pablo.
I'm sorry to apologize. I'm sorry to interrupt. Geoffrey, how long have we got left? Because Andy could carry on for quite a long time. Just want to make sure if we got a timestamp to leave enough space for question and answers.
If Andy can conclude in 5 minutes, it's going to be great.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt the flow. Apologies.
Yeah, no, thank you for the time check, Pablo. Yep. So 5 minutes, absolutely. So just to give an example here, at the very bottom layer is the KM Pro administration console, and we have the area for administrating the content. We have feedback mechanisms. That's where the feedback ends up as well. And we also have an analytics suite in there too. There's lots of insight to gain about the usage of knowledge content and what search terms are being asked. The next layer is the API. So all of those interfaces that we look at and we build on the API ourselves. But that's actually enabled for our clients to actually create those interfaces themselves, and that opens it up to a number of different possibilities out there on the web, creating contextual help journeys within the enterprise, integrating into other enterprise solutions such as CRM, chat, whatever it may be, agent desktops, and through the various different technology out there as well, future-proofing for various different technology, so integrating help within chat, IVR, and the Internet of Things ultimately. So let's just give a couple of examples here just to wrap up. So an example of contextual help, this is the cooperative, this is the co-op, and they provide insurance to young drivers. Now this is their website, their web page. It's not hosted by us, it's all independently hosted by the co-op. But there is a panel here, the top 5 young driver FAQs. Now these are contextual knowledge articles that have been dynamically loaded into this page. Those articles will change as the customers or the young drivers engage with different knowledge articles, and as the trends change throughout the year, these will change to be the most useful top articles that those end customers may need at this point of a journey throughout that particular website. It's dynamic, and the key thing here is it's not taking the customer away from their journey, so that knowledge is actually part of the journey and not a destination. Now, another example here, knowledge within transactions. Now, this is Auto Trader. They're a facilitator to allow customers, the public, to sell their vehicle, to sell their car using their services and create advertisements and decide where they want to post them out into certain regions throughout the UK. You can create your advertisement, you provide details about your vehicle, and then you submit that car to be sold, essentially. Now, the sad thing here was they were finding that some of their customers engaged in this process of creating an advertisement would actually stop creating the advertisement because they weren't sure about how to photograph their car effectively. Now, they would leave and go off to help pages, get distracted, and then probably just give up on the process. Now, what we have here, the customer going through different stages of this online transaction, they can open up help and FAQs at any stage and get this widget. This widget will appear and it will dynamically load knowledge articles in relation to the page they're looking at, completely contextual to the stage that they're viewing. They can also have a whole knowledge journey here and type in questions, really capturing the tone of voice from that customer at very critical stages throughout that process. And again, this is knowledge within a transaction and being contextual to a journey, and it's not taking us away from our main focus as a customer. Now, another example here, this is Fidelity and their customer journey for creating an account to create an independent savings account, an ISA. And one of the things customers were struggling on, which is an absolute shame, is passwords. And that would be enough to prevent a user proceeding to create an account. Now, that being one of their most popular articles there, they also have a widget that's available. It doesn't take the user away from that journey, but it does provide the contextual help they need in page. And again, there's all sorts of analytics and statistics we can capture from this and learn about our customer journeys and also capture that customer's tone of voice. Now, one final area here is knowledge automation. With the API, we can do some very interesting things. We can actually make calls to the knowledge base, make calls to the API to actually give us help when certain things are triggered. Now, this is Sainsbury's, and this is their contact us page. Now, when a customer is about to contact them, they are going to fill in a form here and request some email support. Now, as they type out and complete certain fields within those forms at the top here, they type in or make a selection. This panel dynamically loads to the right-hand side with contextual help to hopefully appease that inquiry, to actually end that inquiry. If they type in a further bit of information, further context is available, and essentially it becomes a search term. And again, further help is then produced in a second widget. And again, potentially deflecting an unnecessary contact to the contact center, providing knowledge help to the customer right where it needs to be. And one final example, and that just concludes my presentation, is this is an example of integrations into an enterprise application, in this case, Salesforce. We can see on the right-hand side, there's some real estate that's been dedicated to knowledge. And this is a case being opened up by a user. They open up the case, some content is then passed into the API to provide, again, some contextual help to help close off this call. Now, this actually, we can go into great depth over this, but for the sake of the demo, we're just going to show and share this screen. But we can have a whole knowledge journey, use all those capabilities that we saw with Utility Warehouse, all embedded within the enterprise solution, and all coming from a single source of truth. You can really expand and place this knowledge where it needs to be out throughout the enterprise and throughout various customer touch points and channels. So I've sped up at that point there, and that concludes the presentation. And thank you for your time and listening.
Thank you so much for being here. C'est la fin de ce temps fort consacré en fait au knowledge management chez Verint. Merci encore à Pablo Castillo et puis à Andy Carter qui nous ont fait le plaisir de nous rejoindre à distance, mais tous ensemble sur le plateau d'Agora News Expérience Client. Nous vous donnons rendez-vous dans quelques minutes. Il s'agira toujours de parler de knowledge management, mais cette fois-ci en version française. Et nous parlerons également d'automatisation avec des cas pratiques concernant l'énergie et les télécommunications. À tout de suite.